What up gamers, I'm Sir Mav and welcome to another What We Know video. If you didn't already see it, Rockstar released their first official gameplay trailer for the next upcoming title, Red Dead Redemption 2 last week. A rough and tumble open world action game that aspires to immerse you into a time of outlaws in the Old West. And let's just say this game in 4K looks phenomenal. Who will you play as this time around? What mechanics will they bring from the original Red Dead Redemption? And can you really drift a horse? Let's dive in.
They'll probably hang you, buddy.
You coming, buddy?
Before we dive into Red Dead Redemption 2, we have to understand the roots from the first Red Dead. In the original Red Dead Redemption, we play as John Marston, a man with a past he'd rather forget. A flawed protagonist, John Marston only wanted to right the wrongs for his family as his past comes back to haunt him. Spoiler alert, skip the next few seconds if you haven't played the first Red Dead Redemption. But John Marston dies in the end. Something unknown in major blockbuster video games, but Rockstar executes it beautifully in typical Western fashion, a barnyard shootout. But what Red Dead Redemption brought was more than just a great story. It brought great gunplay mechanics that felt solid and real to each weapon of the West, along with the evolution of Deadeye that allowed you to slow down time, a vast open world to explore, and, in true Western cliché, a good old-fashioned dueling system. Red Dead Redemption 2 does not start off where most might think. The sequel to the first Red Dead is actually a prequel where we will go back in time to play as John Marston's old gangmate, Arthur Morgan. Set 12 years before the events of Red Dead Redemption, this title focuses on the notorious actions of the Vanderlyn gang. After a robbery gone wrong in Blackwater, the gang is forced to flee town. Arthur must help keep the gang in check as they avoid the pursuit of government agents and other rival gangs. We already knew from the previous trailer the more inexperienced version of John Marston would be in the game, but a surprise in the gameplay trailer was the reveal of his wife and son, Abigail and young Jack. Be interested to see what missions take place with the old protagonist. Many of the elements that made Red Dead Redemption great will be showcased once again in the prequel, such as exploration, hunting, shootouts, heists, and other side activities that let you interact with a number of, let's just say, more than interesting characters. But based on what we've learned from the gameplay trailer, all these activities have been vastly expanded upon. As author, you will have a greater impact on the world around you dependent upon the choices you make or don't make. You will have to help maintain your gang's camp and perform various activities such as resource gathering, earning money, and ensuring all community members are happy. Which leads us into NPCs of this world. Rockstar has set a whole new level of immersion with NPC AI in Red Dead Redemption 2. Even the first Red Dead NPCs had a life throughout the day and night cycles such as working during the day and walking or riding home at night. But now we have the added element of choice in how we interact with any NPC. You can now greet a rider passing by, talk your way out of getting arrested by the law, antagonize the local tough guy, or even intimidate and beat witnesses to one of your crimes to keep your wanted level down. It's now your choice on whether you escalate or defuse a situation. Actions, just like in the first Red Dead Redemption, have consequences, but now choice has been taken to an entirely new level. It's your choice on how honorable Arthur will be. At your camp, interacting and helping your gang has its own consequences. Over the course of the game, you'll get very familiar with each gang member. Spending time with the characters in your gang reveals secrets, adds fun activities, and opportunities for mischievous side quests. If you've been gone for too long from your gang's camp, it will be made known to you by the gang members as they ask where you've been and why you're not helping out at the camp. It's tiny little details like these that provide greater immersion to an open world such as this. Radical improvements in the shooting and fighting mechanics of Red Dead Redemption 2 were definitely showcased in the gameplay trailer. We don't yet know the triggers that will enable us to manipulate a fight in progress, but there are definitely some detailed changes showcased. In one scene, you view Arthur tackle someone down and then full mount them for an all-out ground pound on their face. We see Arthur struggle in sort of a wrestling mode with another NPC, and even some counter mechanics were shown where he blocks two jabs to counter with his own haymaker. Gunplay plays its own role in Red Dead Redemption 2 as Rockstar stated each weapon will have their own unique characteristics and realistic reload animations and recoil mechanics. But the most interesting mechanic revealed from the trailer was the quick switch from the revolver to the double-barrel shotgun in one scene. This begs to question, Is there going to be a gun wheel as in previous Rockstar titles, or just like the NPCs, are we going to have to make a choice as to what guns we carry in a fight? Will this also apply to when we ride our horse, or will we have access to all our guns there? There's no way to truly tell till we get our hands on the game for ourselves. If Rockstar is pulling for more immersion, I think it would be a great idea to limit the amount of guns we can carry on Author, as it would allow for more strategic gameplay going into a gunfight, out on a heist with the gang, or even hunting in the open world. Just bring back the lasso so I can hogtie any NPCs that get out of line. And yes, good old Deadeye is back. So far from the gameplay trailer, we can see that we will be able to slow down time as in the previous game, and we will also be able to mark target points for multiple takedowns in a gunfight. I'm sure, just as in the previous Red Dead Redemption, different guns will have different advantages or disadvantages with Deadeye, such as one pistol having the ability to mark more targets. Rockstar stated that they would be going more in depth into the evolution of Deadeye within the next trailer, so we'll be on the lookout for that. In the gameplay trailer, the horse mechanics really shine. In the previous Red Dead Redemption, Rockstar implemented a breed system which really only gave you advantages in stamina of the horse. Well, that has been revamped. Now each breed has their own characteristics that make them better suited for certain tasks, such as pulling a load of logs, how fast they can run across the world, and how controllable they are, say, in a gunfight. In Red Dead Redemption 2, you will have sort of a bonding system with your horse, so the better you treat your horse and the longer you and your horse ride together, the better that bond will be. The key attribute that was shown in the trailer was how the ability to control your horse improves as you increase that bond. A good example of this was when they show Author on his horse in a gunfight. The horse reacts to the gunfire, so the better the bond, the more control you have in those situations. And can we just admire the detail of the cowboy getting bucked off the horse for a second? That's just an awesome visual touch. Those key things right there make this world feel more alive and realistic. This bond was also showcased in the event that your horse comes across a predatory animal like an alligator. You can see how the horse veers off, and then you can pull the horse back on path. The saddle and saddlebags on your horse will also store inventory and extra weapons for Author. Again, I'm curious to see how the inventory slots for weapons will work in this Red Dead. Maybe while being on the horse we will have more access to weapons, or the weapon wheel will only be available on the horse. Questions that are yet to be answered by Rockstar. Another interesting point was the horse can now carry kills and carcasses on the back. We saw this in the first Red Dead Redemption with people being hogtied and brought in for a bounty, but it was never done with animals. Before, we would skin animals for resources out in the field, so we may have to now physically bring in the animals we killed to the general store or camp to obtain the resources they hold, such as meat, bones, and pelts, which can be traded in for cash. The scene where Author jumps off the saddle by the general store with the carcass on the back makes me believe that this is exactly how this will work. For hunting, it is confirmed that we will have a bow to use for taking down deer, moose, elk, fox, bear, wolves, alligators, and I'm sure a multitude of other wildlife spread across the land. The gameplay trailer also showcased an alternate vision mode where, in the case that you just maimed your target, you could follow the animal's trail to harvest your kill. The last thing I want to cover is the world itself. Rockstar didn't fail to leave out a multitude of biomes for Red Dead Redemption 2. In this living world, we will be able to traverse gorgeous mountain trails, dense forests, untamed swamplands, harsh deserts, and settlements like growing livestock towns to modernizing cities. It's like it all came out of a Louis L'Amour book. And when they say huge world to explore in the gameplay trailer, it legitimately looks massive. Take a look at the vista shot in what looks to be a sunrise. This is a long distance shot showcasing some brushland with a river down in the valley, mountain formations off to the left, and a lake off in the distance to the right. My hope is that this map is roughly the size of Assassin's Creed Odyssey map, if not bigger given the capabilities of gaming engines these days. A massive world for all of us to traverse and explore. And there is definitely some dynamic detail in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. By dynamic, I mean how our environment affects the world around us. For instance, we see in the gameplay trailer how Author and another NPC move through the snowy terrain with their lanterns. Notice how the snow is kicked up by the horses, all at the illumination from the lamps across the character's clothing, the horse's fur, and upon the snow on the ground. You are even more immersed within this environment as the moon glazes upon the trees and the snow as you move along the trail. Look at how we kick up the mud and water as we lead our horse across swamplands. Check out how NPC wagons passing by leaves tracks within the dirt road. My ultimate favorite though is the astounding attention to detail when you see Arthur get thrown out of a saloon in one scene. For one, you see the destruction of the window after he breaks through, the fragments of the glass flying out with Arthur along the wooden walkway, and even on the ground below. But what truly gets me is how Arthur is not muddy as he tumbles across the wooden walkway, but once he comes up from the ground, you can see the contact points that the muddy ground made on his clothing. There's also the little details of where everything seems to have its own physics, such as Arthur's gun belt when it sways back and forth, his rifle sling, the tassel on his hat, the grass flowing in the wind to the horse's muscles as they move. It's just all truly compelling and amazing to see, and I can't wait to strap on my spurs and set out across the countryside. At the end of the gameplay trailer, Rockstar's narrator also stated that they will be covering missions, activities, enemy gangs, robberies, and the evolution of sharpshooting via the Deadeye system from the previous Red Dead Redemption in their next gameplay trailer. So we will have at least one more trailer to look forward to till Red Dead Redemption 2 comes out on October 26, 2018 to PS4 and Xbox One. This is set to be one for the books, and Rockstar isn't holding back. And that's what we know so far about Red Dead Redemption 2. If you enjoyed this video, then give us a like and subscribe for future gaming content and updates. Don't forget to tap the notification bell for future updates. Let us know down in the comments section which activities you are most looking forward to in Red Dead Redemption 2. Also, if you want more intel and tips on other games we cover here on the channel, go check out our Twitter page and feel free to share with your friends. Until next time, gamers, this is Sir Mav, signing off.